Miss Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to be showing you guys some new Marvel Legends that have just been shown for Spider-Man Homecoming. Here we have the movie figures from it. Starting off, they have a 2-pack that's been shown, which is a 2-pack with Iron Man. We have the Mark 46 here, but with different paint. He has a lot more gray or a very gunmetal silver, in the middle section of the armor. It looks pretty neat, and it does resemble one of his looks from the comics too, so that is kind of nice. But the armor itself is identical. The only difference is the extra gray paint. It's in mainly his abdomen section. You got some on the thighs, and then the inner section of the arms, and then completely on the biceps. So, it's a neat paint job. It's a good way to update it, I guess, just for this little like side movie, mission. I would hate if this is like a main armor from a movie that where Iron Man was like a main focus. I would be disappointed in that. But as just like a little appearance armor, I think that it's fine. So that looks nice. The figure itself though is just a repaint. And then the next figure in that 2-pack is the Spider-Man. This is a repaint of the Civil War one. The only difference is being the paint, obviously, and now he does have web shooters, so that is nice to see that those web shooters can be put on. And then the paint itself is just a lot lighter, which I think is much better. The original one that we have was way too dark, and it just it didn't look like the one from the movie because it was so dark, even though the sculpt was really nice on it. This one is much brighter and everything, and then the line work on it is really kind of popped. It looks like they've really used that line work and actually painted it black so that it is very recognizable. So that is kind of nice. I think that it does look like a cool figure. Although we're getting a figure in the actual wave itself that's very similar. So for me personally, I'm not going to get this 2-pack unless it's like on sale later on because it's just 2 repaints and they're not necessarily great or anything. Then we have the first figure from the actual series. This is very nice. This is like a prototype armor, basically. It's when he first like makes his suit when he decides to be Spider-Man. We did see a little bit of this in the clips at Civil War, so it is kind of neat to see this here in the movie. Who knows if they're going to do this via flashback or possibly the movie will start out with him becoming Spider-Man to some degree, not showing his full origin, but just kind of becoming Spider-Man, and then it'll skip over the Civil War time, and then it'll go past Civil War. Who knows how this is all going to go down? But I do think that it is very nice, this figure, and it's very reminiscent of a different Spider-Man. I can't remember his name, but the figure came out in the Rhino wave. But it's a very similar look to that, which I think is very, very cool to get a movie version of that. The figure itself looks great. It looks like it has standard Marvel Legends articulation, and of course, it is 100% a new sculpt, which is awesome. I always love to see that. So that's looking pretty great. I'm definitely liking that quite a bit. Then next up we have just the regular Spider-Man on the wave. It's his regular Spider-Man look. So basically, very similar to the one that comes in the 2-pack, but he does have the web wings now. I would imagine that these wings can be taken off. If they can't be, that would be disappointing. But I think that they can be taken off. It should be pretty easy to remove them. So that's very nice. I'm glad that we're getting a Spider-Man with web wings, and those web wings look like they're very well detailed. It looks like that's all detailed work and not just painted, which is nice. And then it's like his web shooters are kind of like creating that, which is kind of neat. So I like that a lot. And this will work as a regular just plain Spider-Man as well when you take off those wings. And then lastly, we have a figure that we've already seen, but here's a new shot of it. It's Vulture. Very excited about this. I'm a huge Spider-Man villain fan, and I'm very much anticipating the Vulture in this new movie. So I am extremely pleased that we are getting a Vulture figure, and I think it looks great. Obviously, he doesn't have his wings, so if you want just Vulture without his wings, you just want a representation of him, then you can just buy this one figure and you're all set. To get his wings, you do have to buy the entire wave that will then have his Build-A-Figure. The Build-A-Figure will be his wings that you can attach onto this figure. So hopefully you don't have to buy more than 6 figures to do that, because his wings don't seem that massive. I mean, they're very big, but to have to build them, hopefully you don't need to buy more than 6 figures. This figure, though, looks really great. His eyes don't light up, but just the way that they're painted has the appearance of them being lit up, which is great. I love that. And I think that the rest of his body looks very good. His arms are a bit thin, particularly at the bicep area, so that's a little odd. Maybe they're not so thin, but just like the torso is a little bit too bulked up. But there's some issues with the proportion towards the torso and arm area, I would say, but that's a very minor thing. The rest of the detail looks very good. His claws on his feet are not aggressive enough for me. I think that they're way too small. There's the 3¼ inch Vulture that was just shown from Hasbro has some really nice aggressive claws on his feet, and I think that those are great, and they're perfectly proportioned to that figure. This one, though, the claws don't look big enough. They look too small, so it's kind of odd that the 3¼ inch one looks better than the 6" one in that regard. Then we have just these are images that I've already covered because they came out a while ago, but we do have pictures of the Build-A-Figure being his wings attached to the Vulture figure. So as you can see, they're quite big. If you want my full thoughts on those, you can check out that video. I'll probably link to it at the end. So that does look nice. So overall, this looks like a really nice assortment. I'm very excited for this series, and I love Marvel Legends. I love Spider-Man, so to get a really nice series of Spider-Man figures is really great. My only disappointment is the lack of Shocker. I was really hoping for a Shocker figure because he is obviously going to be a secondary villain in this movie, so I thought that Shocker would be a nice Marvel Legends figure, especially since they just did a comic one. But, unfortunately we're not getting that. But to my surprise, we are getting like a first appearance Spider-Man, basically, his first look. So that is nice, I will have to say. So definitely can't wait to see the actual movie figures in this wave. I believe that there was a rumored assortment that had some of the movie figures that sounded pretty interesting. But that had some comic figures that looked pretty interesting. But the movie figures of this wave do seem to be quite nice. I'm very happy with them, and I am very excited to see this full wave in action. Hopefully we'll see the entire wave all together at New York Toy Fair 2017, just a little bit later this month. So let me know what you guys think of these figures, and thanks so much for watching.